Hey guys, Rod Pedrick here again from the Palmetto Golf Shop, and today we're going to talk about reshafting, talk about why we reshaft, what opportunities would present themselves for us to reshaft, and go through the steps of what we do whenever clubs come in to be reshafted. As you can tell, this is a graphite shafted club. It happens to be a TaylorMade Rack OS. There are several reasons or several times that we would use to reshaft clubs. The most obvious is probably when a shaft is broken. We can obviously take that broken shaft out and replace it with a new shaft. Or if you had a shaft or a club that its shaft was too stiff or too soft, too regular, then we can take that shaft out and replace it with whatever shaft is needed to be put back into the club. So, just and the shaft is the engine of the golf club. So, we obviously want to make sure that you get the right shaft and the right flex and the right length in order to make golf a much more pleasurable experience. So, that's kind of the issue with shaft these days. What I'm going to go through right now is just show you the steps that we use in order to reshaft clubs. And we'll start with taking the ferrule off and heating the hosel and kind of what we use in order to take these items out. First thing we're going to use is we're going to use a heat gun, okay? And as you can tell, there's a ferrule here. It sits on top of the hosel. This is the hosel of the club. This is the ferrule of the club. And we're going to take a heat gun and we're going to heat that ferrule. And you'll see it bubbling here in a minute. And we want to get it soft enough that we can take a hook knife and cut it and pull it off. So just applying heat with a heat gun. And we're going to do it all the way around. Okay. It'll take a few minutes, few seconds. You'll see at some point it's starting to soften. Okay. You can see it bubbling a little bit there we go. We can see it bubbling just a little bit. This lets us know that the ferrule's getting soft. Okay. And so now what we want to do is, you can see it smoking a little bit. We're going to take a hook blade and we're going to cut it. You can see how liquefied that has become. Okay. So that's what we use in order to take the ferrule off the shaft. Okay. Next thing we use is we're going to put it in a Mitchell shaft puller. Okay. We're going to ratchet down on this. We don't want the shaft to move whenever we're trying to take it out. We use a socket to ratchet it down in there. Okay. And again, we're going to use a heat gun. And this heat gun we're going to use in order to heat up the hosel, to try and loosen some of that epoxy adhesive on the inside. And we're going to heat it on the top as well as the bottom portion of the hosel. And you can actually have this head where the head is standing up. I typically do it with the head down. No particular reason why, just is a little bit easier for me. We're going to make sure we get this nice and hot. I have seen guys use torches. You just have to be really careful. The torch tends to discolor the hosel. So that's why I like heat guns. The torch for us is a last resort. And as you can tell, we want to make sure this is nice and warm. Sometimes you can hear the epoxy cracking on the inside. Lets you know you're getting it hot. We're just going to give it a little bit more heat. Make sure it's breaking up. There again. Alright, so we got it warm. We're going to push our shaft puller up. And there it goes. Now you can see the head moving off of the shaft. You can feel there's less resistance now. And at this point you can just use your fingers to pull it off. So now we've got the head separated from the shaft. This shaft is still usable, obviously, so we could actually clean this back up and put it back in. If you'll look on the inside of the hosel, you can see there's a lot of residue in there. Black residue, might be some brownish, yellowish stuff. That's residue from the shaft, and that is residue from the dried epoxy that's on the inside. We want to make sure that's nice and clean. Okay, so what we do at this point is we've got a brush that we put in a drill. Okay, and it's designed to drill inside the hosel and clean everything out to get it nice and shiny. And this is also going to create some little groove patterns inside the hosel, so when we reshaft, there's a groove pattern for the epoxy to bond to. Okay, so we're just going to take and drill. Okay, and I use right here just to kind of knock everything out. We've got a little bit of residue at the top, so we're just going to scrape it off with a hook blade. And as you can tell, it's nice and clean. So this is what we use in order to reshaft clubs. It's a pretty simple process. It's something that we can do. It's not a problem here. As I said earlier, we can reshaft steel shafted clubs, graphite shafted clubs. If you've got a broken shaft, this is the time that we use to, and the process we use in order to repair those clubs. If you got any questions, call us. If you got any questions on maybe what the proper shaft is, give us a call. We'll be more than happy to help. Phone number is at the top of the web page, and please call anytime. Thanks a lot.